I'll dive in. So before we get started,
Yeah.
Do you want to promote anything, any social media or anything?
I mean, it's your show. Whatever you want to do.
Go ahead. Your Instagram?
Boy, the
Twitter.
whole 9 yards.
Yes, sir.
Like, so you want me to like start with that?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I guess on Twitter at Cox Sports 1. I would say it's like Fox Sports 1, but with a C. It's the easy way to remember. IG is lorinjcox. It's my name.
And then
Do the Lockdown Bears podcast 5 days a week. Do the radio in Janesville, 12:30 a.m. WCLO.
Oh, so you do have a podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, where can I listen to that at?
And everywhere you do podcasts.
Spotify?
Yeah, Spotify.
Really?
iTunes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, we're all over.
Really? So it's just yourself?
Yeah, I've run that one solo, but it's part of a big network of national podcasts. So.
Is that through the Janesville?
No, that's through the
separate.
Lockdown Podcast Network. That's
Oh,
actually
look
what
at you.
the shirt is for. We got shirts
cool.
this year.
Those are Packer colors.
They're actually they're supposed to be Utah Jazz colors because our founder is the radio voice of the Jazz, David Locke. He does their play-by-play.
Oh, really?
So he runs the whole network. But yeah, we've got a show for every NFL team, every NBA team, every MLB team, and every NHL team. We've got like hundreds.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
That sounds exciting. I didn't know that. But yeah, I want to tell everybody how we met.
Yeah.
We've both started working at Shopko, which is like a retail store. It's kind of like Target, but it's
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yeah, they closed it down. I can't believe that. Honestly.
Yeah.
That really made me sad.
It's a Halloween store now in Janesville.
I know. It's crazy. But yeah, my first impression of you, I think it was in high school, and I've always been hairy, but like I saw you and I was like, is that a girl? Because you had no body hair at all.
Yeah.
And then like now you're like 6'5" with a beard. I was like, dang, this dude shot out. So,
it took a little while. Some of us aren't as fast as other people, but yeah, I got there. I can dunk a basketball. Feels good.
You can right now?
I love being able to dunk a basketball. Not very well. It's really hard.
Oh, you still get up
But
there?
I can get up there and put it in. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah.
It was like one thing growing up. I always wanted to be able to dunk someday, and I never thought I would. And then here we are.
That's crazy. What height did you dunk at? Was it like 6'3", 6'4"?
Oh, 6'5". I had to wait till I was.
Oh, really?
6'5". Yeah, no, I can still barely go. I can't jump. That's the problem.
Yeah, I can't either.
My hops are nothing.
Because people think I can dunk, and I'm like, I can't. I mean, I've like done like the rim glazer or whatever it's called, but I can't really dunk. But
Yeah.
Do you think you like Shopko having your first job, or was it like kind of annoying?
It was a good experience. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's real valuable to work in retail, first of all. And sort of that customer service thing, especially if you've never done that before. Either whether it's, restaurant or some kind of service industry. And, experience that, I think, is really valuable for young people especially. But we had a good time. I mean, we had fun with it. We had a good group of young people. And, our bosses, as much as they, wanted us to get stuff done, we could get away with some stuff here and there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as we weren't doing something bad in front of customers, we could kind of, we could have our fun and get away with it.
Yeah, I think Matt was the coolest, Matt Tyler. And the funniest thing because you started off as a cashier, now as GM sales floor, and then you eventually moved to GM sales floor with me and Kyle.
Yeah.
So it was I remember a couple nights it was all three of us, and then we were just screwing.
It was the goon squad at those nights, and Matt was always like, "Oh God, it's you three tonight."
But he was cool because he knew that we would get stuff done, but we'd also have fun, that's what his job is all about. But that one time when he quit a year after us or whatever, and then you sent him a picture of me falling into that pit. On Snapchat.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It was the cardboard recycle thing in the back, or the plastic.
Yeah,
in the back. Yeah, because we used to press it down. We would climb up on the rafters in there and jumped in. Oh man.
And you're like, hey, I'm sending this to Matt. I'm like, you have a Snapchat? He's like, yeah, we're good. We talk here and there. And I was like, okay. For some reason, we just went back there on a late Sunday afternoon or whatever. It wasn't busy. And I just jumped off, and then you sent it to him, and then he sends back that's hilarious or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool.
Once he was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a cool dude. I remember one time, I don't remember, he was telling me about how, we're going to display these in a certain way. I was like, oh, is that what they teach you in business school? And he's like, I never went to business school. I was like, wait, really? Like one of the managers at the shop, he's like, no, I just worked my way up. So he was a real chill, cool guy in that way,
Well, how old was he when he was?
Couldn't have been more than
he was 25.
Yeah, 25, 26. I mean, he was not that much older than that.
Because then he moved to the Delvin Darien or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's
weird
crazy.
store politics, man.
I know it was a good first job. I mean, it was it was technically my second job because I was a dishwasher for a restaurant, but I didn't get paid. it was like they're going bankrupt. It was a bad experience. But
under the table.
Yeah, it's probably for a bad person. But I wanted to ask you how you got into radio. I remember asking you this
A couple weekends ago with a little bit of
I don't
intoxication. Yes.
Wasn't much. But.
Yeah, so I mean, I went to UW-Madison, got my degrees. I did a double major journalism and then communication arts. So I didn't get to really do any radio stuff in Madison, but I did intern at Channel 3, a TV station, doing some sports with them. And I worked at the Wisconsin State Journal doing sports as part-time for them. So I was doing a lot of like that. And then one summer I just was like looking for opportunities. So I emailed the general manager at the radio station and was like, hey, I see you guys sometimes do a summer intern. I'm from Janesville, is that something I could do? And they were like, sure. They brought me in and did like a little interview, but wasn't really... I wasn't asked to. I mean, I was basically just like an extra set of hands.
Yeah.
It's like we'd go on like promotions, be like a live broadcast from a car dealership for their big sale or whatever, and I'd help set up the tables and take it down. And then like eventually they just kind of happened to have a job opening where somebody retired that was doing what I do now, and it was a news reporting position, which I got my degree in journalism. So like I was sort of uniquely set for that one job that happened to open up. If I hadn't had if I hadn't had a journalism background, I don't know that I would have gotten a gig there. It just kind of happened to open up, and they're like, gave it to me, and been doing it for coming up on 2 years now in November, I think.
So when you had that degree, was it your goal to like actually get into radio, or was it like I'm just gonna make connections and work hard, and then I'll just end up doing it?
Yeah, definitely just go wherever the opportunity comes. I didn't do any radio in college at all. I had never done. I mean, I've done podcasting for 5 or 6 years, but it's still a different game when you're running a board or, when you're live on an actual radio, and there's some different dynamics going there, but it's fun. I enjoy it. It's not the same thing I want to do for the rest of my life, and I don't want to work this gig for 40 years or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It has made me really want to do more radio now, but certainly maybe not just, small town local news reporter on the radio, but like I would love to do like host a sports radio show for 3 hours a day or whatever. I would be cool doing something like that. So I just see it as kind of a good experience thing for me.
Yeah, just getting like the reps in. I could see you doing that, especially. I mean, your podcast, you're already doing it, but like, I could see you wanting to like. Is your goal to like do the Sunday, not necessarily the Sunday sportscasting, but like something along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of open to whatever. Like, I'd love to do TV like that. I'd love to do radio like that. I just like the consistency and sort of. I think there's something easy about that. Where it's like you have your 3 hour window. It's noon to 3 every day on this radio station, and like it's your time to kind of do whatever you want. And then like outside of those 3 hours, you're free. I mean, you still have to do. You have to get ready for shows. You have to plan for your next shows. You have to get ready for the day shows and edit some stuff. But like. Nothing else is like set in. You don't punch in, punch out for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
You just have that sort of 3 hour window where you're on.
Yeah.
That's what I like about my job now, is especially with the pandemic. I work from home, and
Oh, really?
Yeah, I work 100% from home.
That's sweet.
And so like I can record stuff at home and send it in for the radio, but like I'll do interviews and stuff over the phone, and I can do them whenever and edit my audio whenever for the next day. So sometimes I won't do any work until 10 p.m.
Really?
I'll interview somebody at 11 a.m. for 10 minutes over the phone, and then I'll eat lunch, go to the gym, play video games, record my podcast for the podcast separate from the radio, and then in the evening I'll edit my stories and stuff and get stuff ready for the next day. And it's just I can kind of do it whenever, and it's super nice.
Do you think you guys will stay that way? Because I'm seeing a lot of jobs where like we don't really need to go into an office, or maybe.
So part of the problem is we're somewhat of an older fashioned company in terms of ownership, and I work with a lot of people that are my parents' age. So there's a desire to want to be more traditional in that sense. And you sound better when everyone's in the same room and everyone's in the same studio. So I think we'll be able to do more from home and from a distance. I think they're going to be more open to that. Like I kind of realized like before, when I'd go in the office in a normal day, I would end up kind of sitting around not doing anything productive for more than I needed to. Like if I'm waiting, if I leave a message with the police chief and I need him to call me back for a story, I've got, and I'm just waiting on that. I'm just sitting there at my desk waiting for somebody to call me back. So I'm just on Twitter or Facebook or scrolling through other stuff at work. Whereas if I'm at home, I can call and leave a message for somebody and then go do anything I want because I'm at home. So like, I think there's less need to be there, but there's a lot of benefits to going in. I think more of a hybrid thing, but definitely we'll need to go in more eventually.
Yeah, the hybrid thing is cool because I think, at least what I like to do is like half and half. Like maybe go in and do like a podcast with somebody, have that chemistry, and then like you go your separate ways, and then you edit it from home or something like that. I think that would be kind of the future of maybe what you do. I don't know. I mean,
no, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's what we should be. You know, like we've got all the capabilities to do any of this. You know what I mean? Like we could run the entire radio. Our boss was talking about that. It was like, realistically, we could do the entire radio station from everyone at home. Like no one actually has to, I guess an engineer needs to be there in case the servers go down or the automation system goes down. But like technically, no one actually has to be there. But it just sounds crisper and better. There's less. Sometimes there's a little bit of delay when somebody's remote, or for whatever reason, it's just not as strong of a connection. Whereas when you're, plus it's more fun to be there too. Like when you're in the studio and you got 3 people on the microphones and you're all kind of looking at each other, you get that chemistry. Like this. Whereas if we had done this over Zoom or whatever, it's just not quite. It's not quite the same.
I know. Unless someone's like out of state, I would do like an interview or podcast with them. But like this is just like you're just right there, and like even FaceTiming my dad, he's out of state right now. And it's like you say something, and it's like 5 seconds. Yeah. It's like, and then you talk over each other. It's just like technology is good, but not in some cases.
Yeah, it's like, especially like if you want to have fun and be light with it. You know, like if you're just trying to like convey important information, okay. But like if you're telling a funny story or something that we're both gonna laugh at, and then there's that delay where it's like you finish what you're saying, and then the other person's able to laugh, like you can't flow at all through that conversation. It becomes very segmented and not nearly as enjoyable for the listener.
Yeah, it's not natural either. It's like, I mean, there's one podcast I follow, these fitness people, and they do it on Zoom, and it's like it's a really good podcast, but it's like a delay. It's like kind of like throws the rhythm off, and it doesn't feel as natural. So I think that's what the con of like doing Zoom interviews is.
Yeah, because you can't edit it out. I mean, like you can edit out the physical delay, like so the listener doesn't hear the 5 seconds, but the fact that the 5 seconds happened when they were recording it kills that flow and that momentum of like picking up where the other person left off.
Yeah,
you can't edit that into reality. Like it has to happen naturally. You can't just make it sound as though they were in the same room. There's always going to be that slight disconnect that you just can't replicate.
Yeah. What are your hours for that? Do you like? I mean, it's probably obviously changed now, but like, before you guys had COVID.
Yeah. So before all this, so there's 3 of us that are news reporters and anchors. So in a normal situation, there's a morning person, a midday person, and an afternoon person. And I'm technically the afternoon person. I kind of forget that nowadays. So the morning person gets in and is live on the air from 5 to 9 a.m. sporadically doing newscasts at the top and bottom of every hour for multiple radio stations. So like she'll do a 5:04 and then a 5:30 and then a 5:50 on a second radio station, and then you go 6:04, 6:20, 6:30, 6:40, and then 7 o'clock. So like 5 newscasts an hour. So you're not on the air the whole time, but you come in and do like 2 or 3 minutes at each interval on our different radio stations from like 5 to 9 a.m. for her. And then in a normal world, I would be then, actually Stan, our other person, would do 11 a.m. through 3 p.m. newscasts, same kind of thing, top and bottom, and then I would do the 3 to 5 o'clock block. But because we have fewer newscasts in the afternoon, we would do more of the story generation than the morning person. Because when we're not on the air doing the actual delivering the news, we're reporting. We're doing interviews and going out to stories and talking to people and getting the news ready for the next person's shift. So the morning person would get stuff ready for the midday person, midday for afternoon, and afternoon for next morning.
Yeah.
So now I just spend all my time. Now actually our morning person is doing all our newscasts, and she's actually recording the midday and the afternoon ahead of time. So she does the morning live. She comes in, does the morning live, and then records the midday and the afternoon. And me and the other guy just write and report news stories for her to read the next day.
Okay. So have you worked all the shifts, or?
Yeah, I've done them. Yeah, it's all the same. It's just different time. You know.
What's your favorite time?
I mean, I like what I'm doing now a lot. The morning's fun though because that's when the most people are listening, and that's when it feels most like a show. Like in the morning, there's a host, and he's kind of running thing, and then you get the sports guy Josh Goldberg, and then you're doing the news, and so like in between newscasts and stuff, you're live on the air, kind of just joking around, or here's this funny thing we saw, or talking. It's a whole like production. Whereas more in the afternoon, midday, you sort of just fill in a slot, or a cog in the machine, where it's like commercial, and now we go to you for your newscast, and now we go to the next thing that's going on. Whereas the morning kind of all flows together, and we'll do, here's your newscast, but then you hang on after your newscast, and we'll do this, and we'll bring you back on for something else later on, and you get to be kind of part of a show.
Yeah.
But
you're kind of performing more than just like recording.
Yeah, definitely. But getting up at 3:45 to come into work.
That's what I would hate.
So that's what I like about this is that like if our morning person is on vacation or whatever, one of us has to come in. I don't mind doing it once a month.
Yeah.
Get up. It's it's a fun little thing. And we all rotate Saturday mornings too, where we'll do Saturday morning shift. But I don't mind getting up early and doing it every once in a while. Would not want to do it every day.
Yeah. So how often did you wake up early in the morning for like pre-COVID?
Oh, almost never. I mean, I would.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I would get into work at 11 a.m. pre-COVID every day.
Oh,
I'd go like 11 to 5 or 6. And
that's perfect.
My boss would think I worked 8 hours, but I did not. And I certainly do not now.
I took 3 lunches. It's okay.
Well, I come in at 11 o'clock and then I leave for lunch at like noon and come back at like 1:30 and then stay until like 5, 6 o'clock and then get out of there.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you have like night meetings. There's a city council meeting at 7 o'clock. So like you leave work and then, either come back for that or go to the council meeting and that's another couple hours that tags on. So like, our boss and stuff is basically just like, if you can kind of stay close to 40 hours by the time a whole week's done, that's cool. So It's not always going to be 8 hours every day, but there's some flexibility there.
That's cool. Yeah. Who inspires you most with podcasting and radio? That's
a good question.
Like starting out or right now or when you're going to school? Is there something you always looked up to?
Yeah, I guess I was never a big like radio guy for a long time. So like I really enjoy the Dan Le Batard show on ESPN Radio.
Oh yeah, he's funny.
It's just because those guys are just so funny and they do it so differently than anybody else. Like no one does what they do. I mean, it's a comedy show disguised as a sports show. I mean, they get into a lot of other stuff too, and there's a lot of like inside jokes and stuff. But that was kind of a late development for me. I wasn't like growing up listening. I mean, they weren't even a thing more than 10, 15 years ago. But like, it wasn't until like late college / even since I started working on the radio that I really like listened closely to them, and I like that idea of like doing something unique. I still don't feel like I do, you know what I mean? But it's like what I strive. I want to be able to do something unique and different, and that adds something new to the space. So I'm not just saying the same things or doing the same things that everybody else is already doing.
Yeah. But sports really well. Like you and Kyle kind of have that like obsessive. I mean, it's like a good, it's like you have to.
You're not wrong.
You didn't play in the NFL or college, so like you have to know the game so well that it's like secondhand nature to you. So it's like I like hearing people give their sports takes and they know what they're talking about versus like, I mean I don't know football, so I don't really expand on it. But, like basketball, I try to like give my knowledge because I kind of know it. But I hear people talk about sports and they're like, yeah, that's not good. They'll say something like, it's like
he was bad today. Yeah, we all saw. Yeah.
What's the one dude? Colin Collinsworth.
Colin Cowherd or Chris Collinsworth? Radio host or the TV guy?
They're both like
Chris Collinsworth is technically my boss, so.
My bad.
No.
My bad, Chris.
I have gotten emails before from Chris Collinsworth.
Really?
Yeah, I have.
That's sweet.
I sat in his office, but he was not there. He was not there today, and I was invited to a party that he was hosting, but I couldn't attend. So I was.
Where's he live?
Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
I was feet from where Chris Collinsworth lives, but we never crossed paths. It was very disappointing.
Wow. I think he knows a lot about sports, but some of the stuff he says is so. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good.
Long legs you got. Some of the stuff he says is just kind of like obvious, and obviously that's what you're supposed to do during a game. But I don't know. I guess just him with Joe Buck, talking about sports, and then people tweet me like, "Oh, get your uncle." I'm like, "That's not my uncle, Joe Buck."
Well, and Joe does it with Troy Aikman, and it's Chris and Al Michaels on NBC.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
See, I don't even know.
Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and then it's Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on Fox.
Okay. And then
they were all very much in the same boat.
Yeah, Troy Aikman, I do like listening to him because he breaks the game down in a sense of like, if you don't know this, let me walk you through what they're doing. Yeah. Because I don't know football like plays like the nickel defense.
So I love Tony Romo so much. He's so good at it.
Or Tony Romo. Yeah. I said Troy Aikman.
Well, Troy Aikman's with Joe Buck, but it's Tony Romo and Jim Nantz on CBS. It's their number one broadcast.
I went to public school, so.
Me too. It's that Parker graduation.
I know, right?
Teach anything there.
But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so I like listening to Tony Romo.
Yeah,
but
see, like that's the kind of thing I try and strive towards. Again, I'm not. Tony Romo played NFL quarterback at a high level for like a dozen years.
Yeah,
he's really good. But like, I do the Pro Football Focus. That helps. I feel like that gives me some credibility and helps me be a little bit different than everybody else. But I still feel like there's so many really talented people that know a lot about football that do a podcast, and I'm like, how does mine stand out?
Right.
Do
you feel almost guilty that like you haven't played, but you're still giving your thought on it? Like, am I worthy of this? Like, does that go through your mind at all, or no?
Sometimes. I don't know. I like to think that I've put in enough work. I mean, I've been grading games at PFF for 5 years now, where we sit down and we grade every player on every play of every game.
Yeah.
And so
you've done your time.
I feel like I've put in some pretty good time and learned some things. Like, I guess I sort of try and I try and look around and say, okay, well, are the things I'm saying different or better or more accurate than other people saying similar things?
Yeah.
And I think there are always going to be people that know more about football than you, especially people that played or coached at a really high level.
Right.
But I feel like I feel pretty confident that I know more than the average fan at home who has been in the same place that I am, where you never played at a high level. But I feel like I know and can illustrate more. But then it's really like, how do you do that in an informative, fun, and entertaining way?
Yeah.
Too, is the other thing. It's like, you might know everything in the world, but if you can't make it entertaining and enjoyable for people, then it doesn't no good for you anyway. So it's sort of a double-edged sword there, and kind of a two-pronged thing, where not only do you have to know a lot about the game, but then you have to know how to convey that in an interesting and effective way. And that's another area where I feel like I need to be better too.
I do appreciate like people like you who haven't played. I appreciate your perspective and like outlook on things, because that's more relatable than like a Tony Romo per se. It's like, yeah, Tony Romo would be talking. I'm like, dude, I never played. I played quarterback in 8th grade. Like, I sucked. I was like a bad Tim Tebow,
Yeah.
So it's like the perfect scenario for listening to a game would be like a person like you and like Tony Romo, so you can get like both sides of like more relatable. Just watching the game and you know a lot about it, like yourself, or someone who's actually played and be like, oh yeah, so when you're in this moment, so it's like kind of like that banner back and forth. I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah, because you kind of have to cater to different groups of people at the same time, because like you want to provide in-depth, informative, innovative, new analysis. You want to tell people things that they didn't notice or wouldn't have been able to see on their own, or just for whatever reason you caught that other people wouldn't. But you don't want it to be completely over your head, like you said. You don't want to come out and tell them all about the 3-deep zone blitz and why this linebacker was in cloud coverage versus us more of a flat zone. Like, terminology becomes too difficult for people to get lost.
Yeah.
But you want to still be able to provide them that extra level of understanding so that they better understand what they're seeing on television. So like, that's one of the things I struggle with too, is like, how do you don't want to dumb it down and be condescending. Like, this is man coverage and he is supposed to cover, but like. So
you see the little guy with your.
Yeah, like, you don't want to treat them like they're an idiot, but you don't want to go over the top and go way too in deep with terminology and stuff. So there's no formula for that. There's no manual on how to navigate that. I think that's sort of part of the art. Yeah, even not just the science of delivering it, but the art of like crafting your message. That's why I said, like, you can know everything in the world, but you can't deliver it in a palatable way. That's what's going to be difficult.
Yeah, you need that balance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So with you being a Bear fan, first of all, do you have family that's from Chicago, or how does that work?
I was born in Illinois, actually,
really?
Just south of the border. Technically, I was born at the Rockford Hospital, but we lived in a real small town. It's actually called the outhouse capital of the world, actually. It's a real thing. They consider themselves the outhouse capital of the world. There's another city in Kansas that's claiming that too, but it's a big beef thing. But this place, Durand, Illinois, real small. I don't think they do this anymore. We only lived there for a couple of years when I was really young, so I have very few memories. Right. But every year they would do outhouse races, where you would build an outhouse on wheels and either put like an engine on it or I don't remember if they did engines or horses or if you just run like the Flintstones. But it was like outhouse races around the town square.
I need to get in one of those. Like, that sounds so fun. I'll be bringing legs and like.
I don't think it was a used outhouse. Like, I think they would build one. It wouldn't have because like outhouse, I guess you just kind of go in the hole, so you wouldn't be able to like take the septic with you. But
that's a different race. You get a dirty outhouse.
Like porta potty races. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no thanks.
But you're from Illinois.
Yeah.
And then obviously your family's Bears fans, right?
Well, so my dad was born and raised in Janesville and grew up, in Janesville. My mom was from Durand in Illinois, so it was a mixed marriage for, my whole life. So my dad is still a big Packers fan, and my mom's a Bears fan, and my brother doesn't really like sports. So.
Oh, okay. So you kind of went towards your mom's route of
being
a Bears fan? Okay.
Just kind of worked out. I think some of it was wanting to be different than all the other kids at school.
Yeah. Be like a rebel or something.
Yeah.
But what's the outlook on the Bears season? Do you think with this win today they're going to look good or be good?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Really?
No, before the season I thought 8-8, 7-9, and that's about where I'm at again. I'm feeling pretty comfortable with 8-8 this season. I think Trubisky will get 3 or 4 games before they put in Nick Foles, and he'll be better, but not better enough. And, the Vikings and the Packers are both pretty good. The Lions are pretty good, too, even though they really choked this one away.
They should have had it, yeah.
They really should have.
But I feel a little bit of I feel kind of bad for Mr. Trubisky.
Yeah.
It's his fault for not doing some executing on some plays, but as far as, who was in his draft? Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
he was first.
Those names are always being thrown around. I'm sure that's, weighing over his head. And, I kind of feel bad, just go out there and play, But
and he seems to be doing a pretty good job of that. I mean, I feel bad for him too in that sense. I mean, he's not a good quarterback. He'll put together these flashes, but he's not going to be a starting quarterback for his whole career. He's going to be Rex Grossman or be a spot. But he's very good at turning it off. This game against the Lions, he was garbage for 3 quarters, and everybody on Twitter. I mean, not that he's reading Twitter, but he knows everyone's saying, "Oh, bench him, put in Nick Foles." He knows that's always there behind his back, and that somehow he could just kind of turn it off in the fourth quarter, forget the terrible throws he made in the first half, and just turn his brain off and go. And I think it speaks to some resilience and mental toughness that he has. I think he's been through a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a good kid. I've interviewed him a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, I gotta listen. I mean, I'm not a Bears fan, but I gotta listen to some of the stuff.
It's been a little while. It was back before COVID and all that. But yeah, nice guy. I mean, he's just kind of your average down there. When they drafted him, he drove his 1997 Toyota Camry from North Carolina to Chicago.
Wow.
I mean, just this old beat up rusty car and packed his bag. I mean, he's just a humble kid.
How old is he? He's a year older than us. Right?
Yeah, he's 25, I think.
Okay. Wow.
From Ohio. Midwest kid.
Was it easy interviewing him versus someone that's way older?
No, because Mitch is a cliche robot. He does not answer a question with anything notable to say. I mean, I got him to talk a little bit about his favorite flavor of Gatorade. We talked about Gatorade for a little bit, and he kind of broke free a little bit, but otherwise it's one day at a time, working hard, being there for my teammates. It's not about me, it's about them, and
Just to buy the book. I hate those answers. That's why the only reporting I don't like is when they're going to the locker room at halftime. Hey, coach, what's the plan for second half? Win.
We gotta get more yards, score more points.
Execute. That's why I love Greg Popovich on the Spurs. He's like, lady, we're trying to win every game. What do you think it's he's just so flat out rude. It's so funny.
Yeah.
But
I'm surprised more coaches don't have more fun with that. But I feel they're always so busy thinking about everything else, they don't have time.
I think maybe after the game, but during the game when they're breathing heavy, hey LeBron, how'd you feel in that dunk? Just have trouble getting his words out. It's
well, that's what I liked about the XFL is they would let the sideline reporters go up to a player. So the quarterback threw a really bad interception, and they put a microphone. He gets to the sideline, they put a microphone in his face. He goes, really? "Oh, my coach had a terrible call there." He's like, we got to have better play calling on this. And so they went to the coach and your quarterback, DB picks off a ball, and they come to the sideline and they're what'd you see out there? That wide receiver was trash, man. That quarterback was trash. I went up and got that ball, and you get that live instant reaction where they don't have time to filter it or anything, and it was really well done. I loved that.
It's the reporters at Rucker Park. Have you seen that? Mm-hmm. There's a outside basketball court in Harlem, I think.
Yeah.
And there's just it's in the hood. They'll have a reporter, and a reporter, just talking the whole time. And half the people will be on the court, and Kobe's went there, Kevin Durant, they all go there.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
And it's you got to prove yourself there. And, it's just funny to see the reporter and everybody on the court. It's give these people space, stop talking. It really bugs me. But what do you think the Packers are going to do this year? Do you think they're going to be better or?
Well, I was surprised how well they handled the Vikings today. I mean, I know they kind of let up a little bit down the stretch there, but they put up some freaking points, man.
Yeah.
Especially, given all the talk about how Rodgers doesn't have receivers and needs somebody not named Devontae Adams, and even when you look at their rosters, wide receivers not named Devontae Adams are thin in terms of quality, consistent, proven guys, and tight end. Robert Tonyan and Jake Sternberger haven't done much in there. Not that Jimmy Graham was doing anything last year, but
no, not at all. I like Lazard though.
What? Oh yeah, Lazard. I just thought. Coming out of the draft, I went to the Senior Bowl for Lazard. I mean, I've gone the last couple of years when Lazard was down there, and I really didn't like him coming in that game. I thought he was going to have to be a tight end in the NFL. He looked so slow.
Yeah.
But coming into Green Bay, that dude can move. I mean, he's moving like a wide receiver, and he's a big body guy. But again, we're talking, was he a 5th round pick? a couple years ago. So like that's kind of like between him and like Valdez-Scantling, again, like a 6th or 7th round pick.
Mm-hmm.
You'd kind of be like, well, yeah, the Packers need better receivers, like duh. But Aaron Rodgers is still really good at football, and you have running back like Aaron Jones, and
he's
even is it Tyler Irvin, the young running back that's been playing some wide receiver running back. I mean, Matt LaFleur is a good coach. They got some good weapons. Yeah. I realize I haven't answered your question. I think they're going to win the division. I do think they're going to win the division. I mean, the Vikings lost some real talent this year, and I don't super believe in Kirk Cousins. And I still think it'll be a close one, but I think the Packers, especially today, proved that like they're going to score some points on teams, and I think they're not going to go 13-3 again, but 11-5, 10-6, 3 or 4 seed, and
same thing.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah, playoffs is that's what I think. The year after they won the Super Bowl, they were 15-1, and then I was like, oh, they're gonna go back to back, and then lose the first round. I think
was it the Giants again?
I think it was either Giants or was that the Niner year?
Oh,
I think it was the Giants actually. Anyways, but I was like, there's no point of the regular season. Just do good enough to get in the playoffs, and then turn it on crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of more easier said than done, but
just like the Milwaukee Bucks this year, same thing, Nuts,
yeah.
Coach Budenholzer, man. Well, and then Eric. I mean, it's not,
and Giannis needs to like tweak some things in his game.
Oh, for sure.
But back to the
Packers.
I'm saying both teams
could do a whole podcast on the Bucks.
I know, right? The sad thing about the Packers, I'm really getting nervous for Aaron, because if he doesn't win another Super Bowl, I'm going to be really kind of angry as far as like his legacy goes.
Yeah,
he should have had like at least 3.
Oh, at least a couple.
And if this was an NBA in 2014, he would be gone. If they get like 4 years each team. Like if I'm not winning a ring, I'm gone.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna do good this year. I don't know what my prediction is, but I don't know.
Yeah, the clock's running out for him in Green Bay. That's for sure.
Because he's 36.
Something like that, but I mean, between his contract and Jordan Love, I mean, it's like this year and probably next year, and then that's when they can get rid of him financially. I mean, it's still going to cost them a shit ton, but it's going to be, they're going to be ready for Jordan Love. I don't think Jordan Love is going to be. I wasn't a big fan of Jordan Love coming out of the draft, as far as him being the long-term answer. But there we go. But it seems like that's the direction they want to go, and I mean, if they let him go, I think he's going to go play at a high level somewhere else. I mean,
that's sad to see. Yeah,
Chicago would take him with open arms. They tried to sign Tom Brady this offseason.
I heard about that. Yeah. No. Speaking of Tom Brady, when he quit, got let go of the Patriots. I started to like him more because I heard he was saying like, "Oh, I want to prove myself without the Patriots way," and blah blah. I'm like, "Oh, I like this guy." I'm starting to like really. Because I used to kind of hate him throughout his career because he was just so good.
Yeah, he just win all the time. And,
and then
supermodel girlfriend.
Yeah. And then,
wife, excuse me.
And then still kisses his son on the lips, which is weird.
Yeah, but there's a lot of weird things about Tom Brady. His weird trainer Alex Guerrero and the TB12 method and all this Eastern medicine healing stuff. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. He's weird.
But anyways, I was like getting excited because I was like, I might start rooting for this guy because then the Buccaneers are not that crazy good. Like, I mean, they're solid. And then he started getting Gronk, and then another person got signed. I was like, I hate this dude. It's like I thought he was gonna like really prove himself, but
they got a good they got a good offense down there.
Gronk, and then what's the big dude? I forgot.
The wide receiver.
Mike Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans, and they got Chris Godwin, and although they just cut like 2 or 3 former Badgers before the start of the season, so I'm not super thrilled with what they're going on down there.
Oh, damn, that's crazy. On another note,
they signed Leonard Fournette too.
Oh yeah, dude, that's what pissed me off because I was gonna start rooting for him a little bit if the Packers went on.
Yeah,
and I was like, screw Tom Brady. Like, you're gonna get all the good guys again.
Yeah.
But on a side note, it's something I've been thinking about for a year. Do you think J.J. Watt is a serial killer?
A serial killer?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's always nice. He's always in a good mood. He always says the right thing. And you're a sociopath. Don't you think? Have you seen what's it called? Not Gridiron. What's it the filming process of like behind the scenes?
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
So when they do the Texans, he like stayed behind every day and was hitting pads in like an open field with nobody just because the cameras were on him. He probably does it anyways, but it still is kind of corny to me. And
he's corny. He's super corny.
That's my thing. I think he's got a couple bodies in the trunk.
I don't know about bodies, but he definitely plays it up. You know what I mean? Like he knows where the cameras are and he likes the attack. Like was it the off season or 2 off seasons ago? He like I don't know why he like announced, but he made it known that for the off season he was going to go to a cabin in the northern woods of Wisconsin and just live there and work out there. Like,
don't announce it.
Okay, dude. Like, sweet.
Yeah.
You do your thing, cool. But like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
But like, so like I covered both of his brothers at Wisconsin. I've talked to them many times. Derek Watt, the fullback for the Chargers, and TJ Watt's the outside linebacker for the Steelers. They're a nice family.
Yeah,
they're really nice people. I mean, they can. I'm sure I've seen behind closed doors. They can be just like anybody. They're not always nice all the time. And I know like they're not as like universally respected as JJ. Like I remember one time it was like my freshman or sophomore year. Derek Watt, the fullback, he's the middle brother. Mm-hmm. I think there's actually another younger brother, but of the 3 NFL brothers, Derek Watt's the middle brother. And I remember one time I was leaving a class, and one of the Badgers' offensive linemen, Tyler Martz, who's now with the Rams or the Titans, one of those two, he was with some of the other offensive linemen, and I was just like watching from distance, and Derek Watt was like unchaining his bike, and Derek was like, "Hey guys," and Tyler the linemen were like, "Hey," and then as they were walking away, he's like, "God, he's so annoying. I hate Derek." And I was like, "Oh,
wow,
sorry."
Just a goody two shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just something I was thinking like this past year. I was like, I think he's got a couple buddies. I don't know, but anyway,
he could murder someone with his bare hands.
Oh yeah. I'm like halfway joking on
humongous.
this. He's probably a good dude, but he grew up like close to where Jeffrey Dahmer was.
Yeah, Wisconsin guy.
Kind of by Milwaukee.
Yeah,
right?
Eastern.
Milwaukee, yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. But if you were the NFL...
His parents are super nice too. I mean, they're a really nice family.
Yeah.
But they're probably hiding something. Yeah.
I think so, yeah. If you were the NFL commissioner, what would you change about the league?
I wouldn't want that job. I'll tell you that.
Really?
No,
It seems stressful.
I mean, he makes $50 million a year. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's a very, very highly paid guy. But it feels like he can't do right. Mm-hmm. Like, because if you make the game more safe, people feel like you're taking it away. And if you try and make it more like football, then it's not safe and people are getting hurt and killed. And like a bunch of players don't have health insurance and they all have CTE and like they need to get money. Like, that's probably what I would do differently if I were him. Is like take care of the former players a little bit better. But like as far as like the game and stuff, I would want to open it up more to like media and access and stuff. Like everybody is still, it's very much like we need every competitive advantage we can get. Like the Bears, for example, are no longer like talking about their injuries. Matt Nagy, head coach, he will not comment on anybody's injury anymore this season because he wants for competitive advantage. I'm like, if your opponent knows that David Montgomery's going to play versus not going to play, it's not going to be the difference between you winning and losing. Like every team has all the film on everybody. We all get the same coach's film. Everybody runs generally the same kind of plays and the same. There's 7 types of coverages on defense. There's a bunch of adjustments you can make to it, but there's really just like 7 of them, and everybody knows, and you can watch the film and figure out, okay, you run this one way more than all these other ones. I mean, like all this information is out there. It's an equal playing field, so like you don't need to be so like secretive with interviews and making players available and what they talk about. Like doing more of like what the XFL did, where like microphones on the sideline, getting people involved, and like making it more open and just. It's a game at the end of the day, and like they treat it like it's war, and like if we give up these secrets, our families are going to be murdered. The
worst you're going to go is like 0-16.
You're gonna mean, but if you're gonna go 0-16, it's because you were a bad football team. It's not because you spilled the beans. Like it's one thing if like you're telling the other team your play call every time, which is the other thing that the XFL did too, is they had the coaches' headsets live on the television screen, so you heard the play calls on the air.
Oh, really?
When you're watching, they'll go jet left, X right, Y spider banana 2 on 4, and then like they'll go out there and run it. And same with the defense too. So like you could hear the quarterback the entire game when he's pointing stuff out. And like that kind of stuff is sweet. Where like it didn't affect the quality of play in the XFL. I mean, it was bad because it's all the rejects from the NFL. I mean, because they're bad players and bad coaches, but like. No team won or lost games because everyone could hear their play call or because they were doing all these interviews and stuff. Or like they even had it where like they did a live interview with a coach during the game. Like while he calls the plays and is answering questions while he's like stuff like that.
That's kind of awesome.
It's super cool, and it makes it a more fun viewing experience for everybody. It brings you closer to the team and to the players. Yeah. And there's no reason the NFL couldn't do that, but they'd say, "Oh well, competitive advantage and all this stuff. And it's like,
Did Johnny Manziel play for the next
He did not.
What was it? It was a Canadian, or no?
He did a little bit of Canadian football.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to come back at all? No, he's done. Yeah.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
He
does a lot of that. Or did.
I never thought he was. I don't know. There's such a big jump from college to pros, and I just thought he was. I don't know. He was fun to watch, but only for a down.
Yeah, he was like Patrick Mahomes, but without the consistency. You know what I mean? He could do Patrick Mahomes stuff before Patrick Mahomes did. He'd run around and just chuck it, and it would go where it needed to go, and you're like, wow. And then, when you're little like that and not as dedicated to the team and to the playbook and to the hard work, it doesn't really hold up. Although I will say, cocaine is not what's keeping him from the NFL, because one of the worst kept secrets of the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys have a defensive lineman, Randy Gregory. Everyone knew coming out of college that he had a coke problem in college.
Really?
Yeah, and they drafted him in the second round, and he's been suspended 4 times because he still does coke. And they brought him back, and everybody knows this.
Yeah.
It's not, no one's saying it, but everybody knows it, and so it's there. It's not a secret, and you can get second and third chances if you're a talented player who still works hard and learns the playbook and all these things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where Johnny Manziel is not as adept. Right. Yeah.
Didn't Lawrence Taylor do cocaine too?
Back in the day.
If anybody's got body in the trunk, it's him. I watched.
No, it's Ray Lewis, but then it's
him too.
Well, he literally was on trial for murder.
Did he actually kill somebody?
Well, Ray Lewis was on trial for murder, but they found because
it was a friend or something.
It was a mistrial. Yeah. Somebody else took the blame.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Those guys, the old-fashioned NFL, I would watch that growing up and get pumped up, and I was like, I hope I don't make it pro because it's some savage stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's some crazy next level.
You got to be a kicker or a backup quarterback. That's the way to go.
Oh.
Never get hit, make millions.
Punter, dude.
Punter, yeah.
Punter, I'd rather be punter because kicker is
there's pressure there.
If you don't make it, you're having death threats, for sure. I remember there was I think it was 2014 or 2015, Mason Crosby missed 8 extra points.
Yeah,
and,
I remember that.
And everybody on Twitter was just it's destroyed his his feet or whatever.
Or the Bears kicker in 2018, has the double doink in the playoffs and still has not had a job yet. Mm-hmm. He's had a couple workouts. Not that he was a great kicker, but he was.
You feel bad for him.
He was. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Although then he went on the Today Show the next day and was all boo-hoo, feel bad for me, and then that's why the team cut him because, it was a mess. That was a mess.
And then there was the Packers. They were trying to recover onside kick. I forgot the guy's name.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and
the big dude.
Yeah,
I know his name if you say it.
Yeah, I know. I can picture the play. I just can't remember the guy because he was a backup tight end or whatever. I mean, he was.
Jared. I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You screwed up, but I also kind of feel bad because there's some really serious people that would if they saw you in public, would try to fight you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they'd want to kick your ass.
Yeah.
And it's a football game. At the end of the day, I try. Even though I cover the NFL professionally, it's one of my jobs is to cover football. It's still a game. You know what I mean? I really try and not take it too seriously as much as I possibly can.
Did you play when you were younger? I don't think you did.
Not really. No.
Why not?
I mean, I was a fat kid in middle school and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
We didn't hit puberty till last year. Dude, I thought
that's part of it.
I mean,
I played tennis in high school very, very poorly.
Oh yeah.
I was really, really bad.
We played against you.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I was on the bottom of the JV team where I literally played doubles with the mentally disabled kids on our team because that's about what the level of tennis talent I had.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, tennis was fun, but
it was.
I should have played tennis sooner, but football, it was fun until I found out people in 8th grade were taking creatine and lifting weights like crazy. I was like, yeah, I'm out of here.
Well, high school, I know at Craig, we had football players taking steroids, straight up injecting steroids. Yeah, I knew some of the kids. Yeah, the hard stuff.
Really?
Didn't work. We won 3 games.
Yeah, that's what. Now that I know more about fitness, I look back and I think there's a couple of players that did juice.
Yeah, because they don't test in high school football.
No,
at least not in the Big 8.
You're going through puberty, so you can gain muscle really easy. And
no one's it's not gonna look out of place.
Yeah, but I don't know.
But it's high school football at Janesville Craig. It's one thing if you're gonna go to a D1 school and feel or whatever. But these are all kids that went on to do nothing. One of them's a real estate agent now in Janesville. I'm not naming names, but
yeah,
I remember one of them.
I probably don't know him, but
you might. I think you will, but we'll discuss that.
Oh, I'll write it down. I think I know. He's not gonna watch this, but
I know, but it's still fun.
I suppose
Yep.
that's the name.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, that dude.
I remember him doing steroids.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. He was really big in middle school, and we played against him in JYF, right? And I remember I was like always big into like hitting people hard, even though I was skinny and I couldn't do it. But I was like, I'm gonna hit him hard, and he was like with the ball, and I was like gonna lunge my shoulder at him, hit him in the mid gut. He laid me out so hard. I was like, this is the last time I'm gonna do it. And he was probably like 200 pounds in 8th grade.
Yeah, he was a
deep.
thick boy, that's for sure.
But I was just like, it's funny that we know that guy.
But again, why? So you could be slightly better at Craig High School football and go 3-6 or what? You know what I mean?
Like, here's the thing about steroids is like, you can take all the steroids in the world, but like, it's not gonna make you better than genetics.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
you have to actually work too. Like,
yeah,
you can't it's not a cheat code.
It's like Russell Westbrook can play any sport he wants.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson, LeBron. Like
NFL cornerback.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah.
6'4", 215, just lightning fast.
Yeah.
Like, it'll lock you down. But I don't get the whole steroid thing. But, so you didn't play in middle school because you were chubby?
Yeah, I mean, I was a fat kid and I guess I was into football. I just was never like,
I want to play
athletic. Like me and my friends used to play a ton of Madden. We'd stay up all night playing Madden all the time. But like, I don't know if I never felt like I could. That was the thing. Like it wasn't like, oh, I don't want to. It was like, I'm not good enough. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I would do nothing. I would just I couldn't do it. Like I felt like I couldn't in that regard.
Yeah. Not that anybody cares, but I broke my collarbone twice in like 3 months in 8th grade, and I was like, yeah, Mom, I'm done. She's like, that's probably good.
Yeah.
Because I remember that year I was on the Patriots or whatever, and we were playing like
JYF.
We were playing like some big dudes in the school. Like they were like 6'5" and like 220, and I was just like
grown men.
And I was just so skinny. I'm just like, I'm done. Like I'll play basketball, like whatever.
Yeah.
But do you have any regrets as far as like what sports you didn't try or?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I would have played football.
Yeah.
I still don't have a good reason for myself as to why I didn't. Like I don't think back. It like never occurred to me that like I could. Like it felt like I can't. Like I can't play football.
It probably would have messed up your passion. I feel like for football because a lot of Janesville, no coach in Janesville was good at any sports. I would say except for like
baseball. We got some baseball coaches.
I mean, there's outliers for sure, but like majority.
Janesville sports.
We had good athletes in all grades, but like we were always like the joke of the Big Eight. I feel like.
Well, I mean, Beloit, but then us.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. It was just silly, but.
Yeah. No, I wish I would have. I wish I would have been able to do more football. I don't think it would have ruined it for me. I think I would understand the game better, honestly. Like, I think there are certain aspects of it that you just can't quite replicate without having done it.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't know what it's like to get your bell rung and what it feels like to go over the middle of the field on a slant route where there's a safe. You know what I mean? Like you'll see a receiver drop one when he's about to be hit, and you're like, oh, he should have caught that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know what it feels like to know that that's coming, and I can totally feel. I can imagine that if I were in that receiver's place, I would not want to do that.
Yeah.
And so like, but having not been able to actually feel that, I can't know that exactly the same way.
I got my bell rung a couple of times. I remember I landed on a trampoline. I got a concussion. And a week later, I played football, and like I was
smart.
What's a Vicodin?
Yeah.
Shoot me up now. Yeah. I was a quarterback and I was throwing the football, and then someone tackled me, and it was one of those things where like my head just went way back, and like I was like, oh, it hurts. And it was back then, so I was like, didn't know what it was, but I was like, I definitely had a back concussion. Like, it hurts.
It's seeing stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think you're gonna still do radio for long term, or are you kind of just like taking it day by day, like?
Especially during the pandemic. I mean, I don't know. I always kind of keep my eyes and ears out for stuff, but like, I definitely have stopped writing as much as I used to. I mean, I used to do almost exclusively sports writing. I worked for the State Journal and did college newspaper and stuff. Right. And I thought that's where my career was just going to go because that's what I had experience doing. You don't need expensive equipment to write. You need equipment to do radio or television, and that stuff's not cheap, especially television. But
I hear you.
But writing, you can just do. You need a computer, you know.
Yeah.
So like that was just what I had experience with, and that's kind of where I thought I was going to go. But like that industry sucks. I mean, the whole industry sucks as far as like job security and growth and stuff. But writing especially, like all the newspapers are dying, and it's all online. So it's like if you don't write for The Athletic, then but you know what I mean. Like I know like 7 or 8 guys that write for The Athletic pretty well. Like I've got those kind of connections. But again, like I don't feel like I'm adding enough to the conversation. You know what I mean? So like I feel like at least like broadcasting is its own separate skill. Just like writing is a skill, broadcasting is a skill too. And I feel like that's something that I can do. And I guess my idea is to just be able to do everything, because it feels like that's where the industry is going. You need to be able to write, and you need to be able to broadcast both on radio and television. Like you need to be able, you know, you're like, I mean, I write for the radio station, you know what I mean? Like if I do a news story, I'm not just doing it for the air. I'm putting it online and putting it on Facebook, and it's a written form too. And we do video stuff too. Like even in sports now, you know, if you write for the Green Bay Press Gazette or the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, of course you have to write about the game, but then each newspaper has their own podcast about the game, and they'll do a lot of videos and stuff because you got to be able to reach fans. You got to get those views and those clicks to make money. So like that's kind of where I'm at. Where like I just want to make sure that I can do all three, and then no matter which industry you get the job in, you're gonna have to do the other two. If I don't think it's even just limited to the 3 of writing, broadcasting, and TV, but like you basically kind of have to be a triple threat. So I'm doing that, and right now I'm in radio doing the other 2 on the side, but I might end up on TV doing writing and broadcast. You know what I mean? Just some way, shape, or form, I'd like to be employed.
Yeah, right. Getting paid to like if your passion is like the goal of everybody, and if we both can do that, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and like I'm doing that now. I mean, I get my podcast pays. I mean, we've got a lot of advertisers and decent amount of viewers, listeners, I guess, and I get paid to do the radio, and I get paid to do Pro Football Focus. Like I spend most of my day writing and talking about football for a living.
That's pretty.
And I do some news. Yeah, I do my full-time job on the side.
Yeah.
But like, but at the same time, it's not like the dream job. You know what I mean? So like, I have no complaints whatsoever.
But it's just like anything. If you're good at it, you'll succeed and get paid. Kind of like I tried to get into radio or whatever when I was younger, and someone's like, "Oh, it's not a good industry to get into," but I'm like, yeah, every industry is not a good unless you're a nurse, but like,
or like,
if you're good
computer
at something,
that's about it.
Yeah, but anything else is like, if you work your butt off, you know, it'll eventually pay off.
Yeah, I agree.
And in like 5-10 years from now, 15 years, do you see yourself like doing this job and having like marriage and kids, or like what's a goal for you?
Oh boy.
I like to get people's takes on it our age like that.
Yeah.
There's so many people that have kids now, and
that's people getting engaged and stuff and married and all that. Yeah, I don't have like I'm probably married. I'd like to get married and like maybe kids. I don't know. I don't have like a picture of like I want to have a house that's yellow with a fence in a suburb of Chicago and 2 kids and, you know, a wife and all this stuff. I would like job security and financial stability. I would love to, you know what I mean? Like that would be great if I could just like know that my paycheck was going to come every week. I wasn't going to lose my job out of nowhere, and that I could pay my bills on time.
Right.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Which so far so good.
Yeah.
And if there's a lady along for the ride, that's cool too. You know.
Lady along for the ride. Do you mind pulling your chair up a little bit?
Yeah, totally.
I
keep hitting with. It's not my legs; it's the chair leg that keeps hitting the table.
No, like if you want to raise it on the side here.
Oh, like raise it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem. I think that's as high as it goes, unless I'm doing the wrong one. Yeah. Yeah, because that's down and that's up.
I've been bamboozled and hoodwinked.
I'll just sit up straight.
No, you're good. What was I going to ask you? I was creeping on your Instagram.
Uh-oh.
And are you still doing the ketogenic diet?
No, that was long ago.
That was long ago?
But I did for a while.
How'd that go for you? Or what was the reason for it initially?
I mean, it was just part of it was just something. So like my roommate at the time wanted to do it, and my cousin had been doing it for a while, and so my roommate was doing it to cut. I was doing it to try and clean bulk. So you know, no carbs, but a definitely like an excess of calories, trying to put on weight. Mm-hmm. So we do a couple of pounds of meat a day for sure. Yes. So like lunch would be a pound of bacon that wraps 2 chicken breasts, like a pound of chicken wrapped in a pound of bacon.
Okay.
You know, like something like that, or like we'd make burgers and bacon was kind of a staple food because you could weave bacon together and then cook it kind of hard and then use that as a bun. You know, or at least a holder for your burger patty. You know,
cool,
so stuff like that. Find different ways to eat a lot of meat and fat. Eat a lot of butter. Just butter and heavy whipping cream, and those were the days. Jeez. It's a fun diet in that regard.
Yeah,
it's hard because I love bread, and like it's hard not to eat carbs, and like there's nothing you can have nothing sweet. You know what I mean? A lot of artificial sweeteners, but like no desserts of any kind.
Yeah,
because it's all carbs and empty stuff that you don't need anyway. But like when you kind of get into it, it's fun. A lot of pepperoni, a lot of eggs, a lot of cheese.
Yeah. It seems fun, but I don't know if I could do it.
It's hard.
Did you see any like physical changes? Did you gain a lot of weight or no?
It was not really. I mean, not nearly as much as I wanted to, but it was good. It was lean, which was nice in that regard. Like I feel like I got a little bit more. I didn't gain a lot of weight, but I feel like I added a little mass without really adding a lot of like body fat necessarily. It was kind of directed and like. It went exactly where you want it to go. You're not just like, because like on a normal bulk, you kind of get a little fluffy and then you kind of trim back down to get but this I felt like kind of did both at the same time, where it added weight without adding too much extra fluff. But again, not that much. I've had a much easier time gaining weight since then.
Yeah. I love carbs. I don't know if I do.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
Yeah. But, then I saw you at the Black Lives Matter rallies.
Yeah, that was for work and stuff.
Was that fun? Or no? Was it kind of scary?
I was never scared. I mean, it's like a lot of work. I was like walking around all day, sweating outside in the sun. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool. It's really interesting. You know what I mean? Like I was standing at the front of the protest line, and the police chief is right on the other side of this barricade, and I'm right in there, up front, and people are like yelling and screaming. No one in Beloit, no one was doing any damage. Nothing was damaged. No one was hurt. It was about as peaceful as you could be. But it was still. It was still intense. I mean, some people were like getting real angry and yelling about stuff and like burn this down, and like no one actually did, but like it was fairly intense. And I found out after the fact that like the police had like a riot squad ready and waiting around the corner. Like they were ready if something was going to happen. But not at the time.
Jeez, yeah. I was watching it because I think I moved in this apartment right when all that stuff was going down, and I was like, I'm not going. Even though I like obviously believe in it, but it's like I don't know, especially since most of my friends are white now. I don't know if it would be a good idea for all of us to go in there and like just a bunch of white boys. They might think we're up to something,
Well, that's the problem. Like, in a state like Wisconsin, I mean, especially like Janesville is not a very diverse city. Madison is a little more diverse. Beloit's quite a bit more diverse, but like in Janesville, it's a bunch of white people trying to be saviors. I mean, you want to be a good ally. You want to support them, and like you want to help, but at the same time, like it's important to speak up as a white person, but it's also like you can't it's not your fight. You know what I mean? You're not deciding. It's not for you. You're doing it for other people, and like. But if it's just some white people saying like then it's not including. It sort of defeats some of the purpose in that. But
yeah, I hear that. I mean, it was a weird. I mean, it's still going on obviously, but like. I don't know. I feel like as white people, if we just talk more about it, we'll get more places than in the past.
No, definitely.
But it's just weird. I mean, Madison and Milwaukee are probably the more diverse in Wisconsin. But like, if you go up north where my parents are,
there's
no black people.
Towns that have never seen a black person in their life. Yeah,
they're like just like freak out. It's like, what do you chill out?
Yeah,
it's like I don't know. You growing up in school like with sports and all that. It's like. Without black people, we would be even worse at sports. Like that's just the truth, It's just crazy, but
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see what happens. So, Bears are going 8-8. You think?
Yeah.
7-9 about there. Packers are about 10-6. You think?
Yeah, maybe 11-5. Yeah.
And then what about the NBA? Do you follow that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, we didn't talk about the Bucks. What was the season like to you from your perspective?
Before or after? The restart or the original?
We'll go with the bubble because the regular season is like...
Yeah, I mean, they were far and away the best team in the NBA. Yeah. I mean, they were beating him by 20 points. But yeah, the bubble, man. I think part of it was them... I think they were... I don't want to say distracted. It's not the right word. But, like, they were clearly really upset about the Jacob Blake shooting because it was so close to Milwaukee. And, like... The Bucks legitimately talked about leaving the bubble. Like that was a discussion that they had, and like they couldn't. Yeah, they couldn't. To some extent, I think it took away some of the not motivation, but like I think it affected them in some way. Is it the reason why they lost in 5 games? The Heat, no, but I think it's part of why
focus.
Yeah. That's part of why they struggled a little bit. But I just keep coming back to like Mike Budenholzer fails to make adjustments in the playoffs. Like they play regular season basketball really, really well, and they get to the playoffs and they keep trying to play regular season basketball, and it's a different kind of game. It's a different style, and like we started to finally see some adjustments by like game 3 or 4, but like Giannis was playing like 30 minutes in games 1 and 2. You know, like, and Coach Budenholzer was like, "Yeah, we don't want to play him too much." It's the playoffs. This is what you were saving him for all season. You know what I mean? And like Chris Middleton was playing 36 minutes in game 2 or whatever. And it's like, you're down 2-0, and it's game 3, and you're not playing your guys as... It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing when Giannis gets in foul trouble. Yeah, okay, you don't want to have him foul out in the third quarter. But, like, there were plenty of times when you're resting him, and I get wanting to keep him fresh, but when you're losing in a really important playoff series, this is what you were saving him for. There's no need to keep saving him.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite player in the NBA, or not really?
I love Giannis to death. He's just a really nice, cool dude. I don't have anything against him. I have nothing against LeBron. I like LeBron James. I mean, I don't. It's not like Tom Brady where I'm like, screw you. Like he's so good at basketball. Like I grew up. You know, I like when I was younger, I really liked LeBron James because the Bucks were terrible. And when you're a little kid, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like I had a LeBron James Cavs jersey when he got drafted and stuff. Like it was. I got a lot of respect for LeBron, but yeah. I mean, I don't have super strong opinions about a lot of other players.
You just kind of like the game.
Yeah, I like the Bucks.
That's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Do you think LeBron's the GOAT or no?
Yeah. I mean, I think he can do more than what Jordan could do.
Yeah. I think it's like overall LeBron's like an 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 for everything. And Jordan is like a 10 out of 10 for a couple things. And he's like a 7 out of 10 for the rest. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, LeBron can just do everything.
He's just bigger and faster and stronger.
Yeah.
And I mean, like at the end of the day, he's physically, they play different positions in that regard.
And I hate when people say like, well, LeBron's 3-5 or 3-6 in the finals.
Like he plays by himself.
Yeah. And then I was like, but Jordan didn't make the finals for the first like what? I don't even know how many years, but he lost to the Pistons like every first round. It's like, so you don't take that into account. You know, it's like I think it's like LeBron, Jordan, Kobe. And then I had like a top 5, top 10, but I forgot it. But I mean, I don't know. Did you watch The Last Dance?
I actually did not. I didn't watch any of The Last Dance.
You gotta watch it.
I've never been like a big Jordan Bulls guy. I mean,
me either. But...
I mean, like he's kind of an asshole and a sociopath, and like I respect him for it. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't have anything against Michael Jordan in that way. I don't know. I'm not that interested in. I don't have any connection to '90s Bulls basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of weird though because you like the Bears so much. You know?
Yeah, there's the only Illinois sports team for me. I mean, I'm not a huge baseball guy, but I consider myself a Brewers fan, and I went to UW-Madison. I'm a Badgers fan, and I watch the Bucks. You know, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't have a good explanation for why just the Bears. I really don't. It just sort of happened that way. I don't know.
It's the documentary is really like. I think Jordan had too much to say because it always made him look good versus like Scottie Pippen. It was kind of like his what's it called, Achilles heel, or like it always followed back on Scottie, like you know, made him look bad. I think in certain situations that were kind of unfair to his legacy, especially. But it was like kind of cool, like nostalgic watching that because I didn't, you know, I was born in '96.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I've been to Chicago a couple times. It's cool to see like a tradition of like the city and like the history behind it, like. I don't know.
It's
just watching
cool.
that, I was like, oh, it'd be cool to grow up in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm sure I would like it too. I just, you know, it was a 10-part series and like.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, I do. It's like you got to sit down and invest all that time.
Yeah.
Like, there's a long list of like real movies I need to see too. That like I haven't seen any of the Lord of the Rings or like I've seen Star Wars, but like Back to the Future and like there's a bunch of those movies that are like I got to sit down and watch. The Godfather.
Yeah, same
Goodfellas.
Here.
I mean, you know, it's. Yeah. Add this to the list.
Yeah, I got a whole a list of movies to watch.
Yeah.
So Sicario, Prisoners, Prestige, Bronson, Mission Impossible, Luke Cage,
Mission Impossible,
Blade Runner, No Country for Old Men, Dawn of Dead, 300, Watchmen.
I just watched Blade Runner 2049.
I want to see that
two nights ago.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's crazy because a lot of that looks like what California and Oregon look like right now. It's
they put the
video with the music over it. Yeah.
So do you like movies? Do you like a passion for them or not?
Not really. No. I never. Again, like I don't consider myself like ADD or ADHD. It's just like I don't want to sit down and commit 2 hours to a movie. You know what I mean? Like
I hear that. Yeah, some movies I can't sit through.
Well, and it's just like you're not doing anything. Like I like to do stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's entertaining. I get it. Like you sit there and you watch it, and it's cool and interesting. But like you're just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know, you're not talking or engaging or anything. You're just sort of absorbing this thing. And I mean, I guess watching football is the same way. But at least with like sports and stuff, when you're sitting down and watching for 3 hours, I feel like I'm adding something of value to me because it's my job, you know. And I think I enjoy it more than a lot of movies too. But like, you know, like when I watch the Bears or the Packers play, I'm able to better talk about the Bears and the Packers later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can come, like you can ask me about the Packers this season, and I can feel like I can talk about it a little bit more. Whereas like having watched Blade Runner 2049, I can make the reference to California and Oregon, and like I was entertained for that time, but I don't take away anything from that experience that much. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't like I don't know what I gained from having watched that other than it was a fine way to spend a Friday night with some friends.
Yeah,
you know? But like
I hear that. Yeah,
I don't know.
It makes sense. I kind of feel the same way about video games because it's like I feel like
it's contained.
Yeah, because it's either like I watch movies to relax and I can just kind of, you know, just be entertained that way. And I think most movies fail for the audience point of view as far as like they don't convey their message right away and they just lose it.
Yeah, they make you earn it. Yeah.
And it's kind of like they wait till the middle of the movie to get going. And it's like you gotta just bang it out right away. But I think video games just kind of like piss me off. So like if I'm getting ready for bed,
not relaxing.
It's not relaxing.
No.
So it's like that's why I didn't really play when I was growing up. But yeah, it's crazy that you're. It's kind of the opposite of, you know, what I like as far as like video games or movies.
Yeah.
Do you have a video game that is your favorite?
The only game I play anymore consistently is NCAA 14 for the for the PlayStation 3.
Those are fun. Yeah.
I have a PS4. I mean, I've got Call of Duty and, you know, Warzone and stuff. I played a little bit here and there, but like I'm on my Dynasty right now. I picked Idaho, which is the worst team in the game. They're an FCS school now. They got demoted. They're the smallest stadium in the game. It's the Kibbe Dome. It looks like the field house at Krager Parker. I mean, it's pathetic.
Yeah.
And try and build them up to be a national championship contender. That's the grind right now.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
But again, like I don't know that I get anything out of that. I struggle with that a little bit. Like I feel like a movie. It's like
it's a waste of time.
I feel like it's generally a waste of time. But I guess it feels a little bit more active than a movie. Like not physically active, but like I am influencing the outcome of this thing that I'm interacting with.
I see what you're saying.
So I get the entertainment and the value out of that versus a movie where I'm just consume it and accept what it is, and I have no control over it.
Yeah, it's like pros and cons with everything.
Yeah.
But like, I get what you're saying. I mean, I don't know. Video games just piss me off.
My roommate plays a lot of video games, and like I'll be like downstairs working on something, and I'll just hear really loud yelling, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, but but with video games too, is like if I play NBA Live or 2K, whatever it's called, or like Madden or whatever, I want to play that outside. So I'm like, I just have the controller down, like, you know, it's like, so I can't really sit there and play it. But I like movies because like I like film and like how it's like orchestrated and all that.
Yeah.
So it is like kind of entertaining for one day. You know, I want to do like a short film, hopefully. But
it's fun.
Most movies, is fun. Yeah, most movies are like, you know, either average or below average, I would say. So
it's predictable. That's part of what I don't like too.
But it is. What am I trying? It's educational, because you get to see what not to do.
Yeah.
But then, you know, some movies, that's what you should do. You know, I can't talk right now.
Yeah, I'm saying that's part of it too. Is like, you know, in college, I took a couple different film classes, and like part of it has not ruined movies for me completely, but like, because you can kind of like, you know what to look for a little bit more. Like, it's harder to just like enjoy it for what it is and just like purely turn your brain off and absorb it and get sucked into the storyline as much, because it's like you notice the editing technique that they used there, or sometimes you notice when they mess up and they made it, you know, they cut it wrong there, and someone in the background was holding a cup, and then when they cut back to them, the cup's gone. You know, like, things like that where it's like I can't turn that off sometimes unless the movie is like really compelling.
Yeah, but I think it kind of enhances it too, where you're like, because there's this one. Have you seen the movie Spotlight?
About is that the Washington Post one?
Yeah, with the Catholic Church. And,
yes, I have seen that.
Dude, you remember the scene where they find out it's more than 11 priests and it's like 99, and the camera starts on them like this and it slowly backs away. So it's revealing not only the scene and physically where they're at, but it's like a bigger picture of like the 99.
Understanding.
Yeah, so when I saw it, I was like, that's just like so subtle, but it's like brilliant. And if I saw that when it came out in 2015 and I wasn't really like...
you wouldn't notice.
I would be like, oh, okay. But like, I pick up stuff now, I'm like, oh wow, that's crazy. Because I watch a movie probably every day. So I just like, I kind of pick up on things. So that's really cool to me. But I don't know. Certain movies are, I don't know. There's this one movie I watched, The Green Room. Have you seen that? Mm-hmm. It's with Patrick Stewart, and it had potential to be good, but it just wasn't. I don't know.
And like, I think that's part of like the difference between you and I. Like when I took film classes in college, like if they required us to watch a movie on our own for homework.
Oh, really?
I would not watch. No. I would watch only as little as I needed to answer the questions on the test.
Yeah, that's how it was with books.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember, like, in college, I didn't read a single book, but I got A's and all. Because I don't know,
you just get what you need and go. Like,
yeah, I'm just good at that, but like with math, oh my gosh, I'm terrible. Like, I took like 6 math classes. I just couldn't do it. So,
yeah,
that's crazy. So I think I asked you everything that I wanted to. Is there anything you want to say furthermore? I think we did hour and 10. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. This is fun. Yeah. I wasn't sure what to expect. I mean, I figured you'd kind of generally ask me about radio and stuff, but I didn't know which directions we were going to go, and you took me in some different directions than I thought. So that was cool.
A lot of people get nervous, so they're like I remember my dad when he first came here, he's like, so what are you going to ask me? Can you send me the questions? I'm like, that kind of ruins like the...
Yeah, people do that on the radio all the time. Like, can you send me the questions in advance? And I'm like, first of all, no. Second of all, I have not written any questions in advance. I'm just going to wing it. Like,
yeah. Well, I just do bullet points.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you need.
It's just a conversation, because if I go, how'd you get in radio? And you go, it was a Tuesday, blah, blah. And I go...
All right, next question.
It's like, it's not natural. It's not flowing, Yeah. So that's just what I try to do.
Yeah, I like your setup here too.
Yeah, part of it's kind of ghetto, but
no, I mean, the lighting, the camera, the table set. I mean, it works, man.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get a different table because I end up hitting this a lot. But
that's the problem with. I mean, like every table's gonna have legs.
I know.
I have that problem too. Like unless you had you need especially with 2 people, like you need something like way too wide that wouldn't even work in the space. You know what I mean?
But then it's like, how much is that going to be? I can't afford that.
Like, or I'm trying to think, like, unless you do like a different microphone setup, but like, then it's another purchase and it's another like.
This is actually for $110. It's actually really
I have one. I have one of these. It's my backup for sure. Mm-hmm. I used to use it all the time, and then it stopped working, and I wasn't sure if it was the cord or the mic, so then I had to buy something else because I needed something else, and I don't know if I haven't gone back and checked if it still works, but these are really nice. This is what they're using, like even like ESPN Radio is using Yeti Blues.
Oh, really?
When they were at home for the pandemics and stuff, they got all their people on these. So it's a quality machine.
There's one microphone with like the professional podcast use. I think it's like 1,200 or something. It has the arm stand and then has like the pop filter in it and all that. Mm-hmm. I want that, but it's like 1,200.
Well, the ones that have the pop, when they say they have the pop filter in them.
They don't really.
Well, so they do, but the problem is it's like the metal still gives you a pop. Like there's a pop filter in there, so you're not getting it all the way through. But like I find that like like the microphone I have now has a pop filter built in, but I still feel like I get a little bit of pop here and there. And so like I've taken to where like I put it like here, and sort of like so like the opening is here, and I kind of talk into it this way, so I'm not, because if I talk directly into it, even though it has an internal pop filter, I still get a little bit of my P's and my T's in there.
Yeah, I think I do okay for audio, but I want to get kind of like an audio curtain for this area because there's a lot of kind of like
ambient noise,
in the kitchen and living room.
Yeah,
because the first setup I had was in my apartment in Arizona. It was in this walk-in closet, and it was so great for audio.
Oh, yeah.
But it got super hot, so my camera turned off after like 8 minutes. And so I was like, it's been like a back-and-forth battle between camera and audio, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to do in my basement. I do most of my radio stuff in my basement, and I bought, you can actually find some really cheap sound panels, or like, so like they're foam panels, are 1 foot by 1 foot, and they're 2 inch thick with like the zigzag sort of.
Okay.
And I bought a sheet of like styrofoam, like pink insulation styrofoam, like the hard stuff, and I just glued 9 of those on to make a wall that's lightweight and movable. Yeah. And then I've got a plywood wall on the side, and then I put a little like overhead thing. So I've got 3 fairly movable walls of like foam that it doesn't make it perfect, but it definitely absorbs a lot of the sound. But I need to get something for the back wall behind me because I always forget how much can kind of bounce off of that too. Even if you're talking directly opposite, sound is annoying.
It is. Really.
Engineering is hard.
I think the audio is okay on this. I haven't really gotten any complaints, but I do miss the closet where it was just a compact area and it was like perfect for audio. And the microphones that you guys use, can you have both people have microphones and the other microphone doesn't pick up the other person's sound, or how does that work?
In the station and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Because part of the problem with something like this is. Yeah, it's the audio pattern. The audio pattern on this is set to the cardioid, which is designed to pick up everybody's. But
this is just for this way, or omnidirectional, or what's it called?
Yeah. So this is cardioid versus omni, and more. But so like this is designed to pick up more. You know what I mean? Whereas the really directional studio mics. I mean, you can
that's true, yeah.
You can pick up a little bit in the background and stuff. But not a lot. I mean, it's very straightforward. Because it's only picking up sound in this direction, nothing on the side or in the back. So the sound wave. So if something comes from somewhere else and like bounces a few times to get there, it's real quiet.
Yeah. If I do get like complaints, but I mean, 4 people watch this. So. My dad, me, twice for editing. But I'll probably get some like audio walls. But then again, how much money is that going to be? That's I already spent like $2,000 probably.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about this stuff is it gets so expensive. Like I bought, finally when the pandemic started, I bought a soundboard because it's got Bluetooth in it, so I can record phone calls off it. I Bluetooth my phone into it, and you can talk back and forth. Okay. And like, but I mean that's like $600, and then the microphones, and then the arm and the cords and just. Oh man,
it gets up there, yeah.
It sure does, and cameras and stuff is.
Oh yeah,
that was ball game.
That was $500. My other camera. So I bought an actual camera for my video because I'm like, if it has video, I can just record it. But it dies after like 10 minutes, and I was like, okay, I can't do that. So I got a camcorder, and it can record up to like 5.5 hours because I got the biggest gigabyte, and then that overheats. So I for now I can for sure go up to 2 hours of video, but it is annoying because it's like. I have nobody really I guess I could ask you now, but before I was figuring all this out, nobody like could help me. And even the tutorials on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
What happens if the tutorial doesn't work? Is a tutorial for that? No. It's like so I was like, there's been many nights where I'll just by myself like getting pissed off like on the laptop or screwing around with that. I was like,
yeah, I've always wanted to do more video stuff, but like that's why like I finally like splurged and got like. The iPhone, this is 10 or 11, I don't even remember, but like
the 2 cameras
for a good camera, because like I thought I could spend $1,000 on a really nice like camera, or I could spend that on a phone that would also work as a phone, and so like I can use this, and but like again, I feel like an amateur if I'm using a phone. You know what I mean? Like,
yes and no. I mean, phones now, I think.
Yeah, now, but like you look like an amateur.
I know what you mean.
The quality it can be professional. I mean, they shoot commercials on iPhone 11s, but like it's still like if you like went up to somebody, hey, I'm making a movie, smile, like we're doing a selfie movie, like you know what I mean, like it feels
cheap and amateurish.
Yeah, like especially like if you didn't have like a production company or name behind it, it's one thing. Like you already feel like an amateur if you go up and say, hey, I'm just doing this by myself. But then on top of it, it's just I'm just a kid with a phone. They're gonna be like. I'm like, am I going to give you time of day? Especially if you need somebody important.
Yeah, that's what I just ask people. Like, now that my camera's going to work, I'm going to start like just going on the list of like my social media followers and be like, hey, you want to do this and all that? But I don't really care if people say no. It's like, well, you gonna hurt my feelings? I don't get paid for this.
No, yeah, it's just from like a movie. If you're trying to do like, I did a documentary on like just a little one right out of college on just Craig baseball because I wanted to make something to give me some experience, and my girlfriend at the time was still at UW Madison, and so I could rent out their really really nice video equipment for like $6,000 cameras that are like professional like cameras and all the microphones and all the tripod stuff. So like I would use her to rent out cameras even though I was no longer in school, and then I would drive to Janesville and I'd interviewed a bunch of players and shot a bunch of practices and games and stuff and put together just like a little documentary for no reason other than just, I wasn't getting paid for it. It wasn't going to be aired on TV anywhere. It was literally just for me experience to put on YouTube and have something on my resume. And it hasn't benefited me in any way on my resume yet, but like it was a good experience. But like, I feel like if I wanted to go up and talk to somebody for that, if I was just a kid, like if it wasn't the high school that I went to and a teacher that I knew and the school district that kind of knew me and they were willing to let me do that. But if I wanted to go to a company and say, I want to do, I want to go into the Amazon factory in Beloit and I want to shoot a documentary. No, they're not going to give you the time of day, especially if you're a kid with a phone.
Yeah.
Like, I felt a little bit better going into the school because I had a real camera, so it was like, oh, this is sort of for school, and but like, again, if you don't have a company or a thing that you're doing it for, and you don't have the equipment, like,
I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
and it's not about being embarrassed or rejected. It's just like they'll just tell you no, and then you can't do what you wanted to do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I have this idea, and they're saying no, you can't.
Yeah, I hate the permission aspect. That's why I started
access. Yeah,
or access.
Aspect. Yeah, the access aspect. Permission. Yeah.
I went to public school, so don't come at me.
Same school district.
What was your GPA?
At Craig?
Yeah.
Like 3.8 something. I don't remember.
That's smart. Oh my! I had like a 2.2, I think.
You went to college. I mean, you got the job done.
Yeah, college I got a 3.0. I was like, I'm paying for this, some better. But high school, like I would skip. I don't care now. Mom can see this, but
I skip school all the time. Yeah.
Senior year, I did like in the morning. I would just go Taco Bell.
Heck yeah.
But
we'd leave at lunch and just don't come back.
Right.
It's like, I did enough today.
It was good times. But I was gonna ask you about the podcast
or video stuff, documentary stuff.
Yeah. I want to look at that documentary you did. That'd be cool if you still have it.
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube. I mean,
it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
okay.
It's still just sitting there.
Oh, for your podcast, do you? Gosh, dang it! Do you do any visuals?
How do you want to define visuals?
Like, do you record you talking to people or whatever?
No video for it yet.
I think if you do that, it'd be like just another way to like release it and like, because I think watching it is cool for the visual aspect, but then listening it. You can do it on like a long car ride, listening to it. So it's like, if you do both, I think it would be awesome because I just do it on YouTube. But if I had a little more money, I would just put it on Spotify.
It's free. I mean,
I don't think so.
Well,
there's licensing agreement that I think.
No, not for Spotify or iTunes. As long as you have an RSS feed, as long as you have a source for it, you just submit it and I take it.
You gotta show me how to do that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah, it's not hard at all.
Okay,
and it's free. The challenge for me with video and with this podcast in particular is sponsorships. So but we do both live read and automatically inserted advertising, and we get paid based on the number of listens, and so it'll also dynamically insert ads based on where the listener is. So somebody might buy an ad that will only air for people within 10 miles of Chicago. And if you're listening in Indiana, you're not going to hear that ad. And so the system that our podcast is uploaded to automatically plays that, and we get paid for that. And so advertisers also don't count YouTube video views the same as they would for podcast audio listens.
There's such a loophole with that stuff.
So like we can't go to them and say, well, we had a certain episode of the podcast, we had 3,000 people listen to this episode on the apps, and then we had another 500 viewers on YouTube. Like that, they won't count that twice for revenue standpoint, and so to some extent we're taking away podcast viewers. If they're going and watching on YouTube, that means they're not listening on the podcast, and we're not making as much money off of their listens.
It would be
That's
cool.
the challenge.
It would be cool for you to like just blow up and do everything by yourself. You know what I mean? Like, but it's easier said than done.
Well, then, and the network is super nice because like now we have a full-time social media person who just does like videos and graphics of our podcast. That's the thing. I've done that before too, where like there's a website I can show you how to do this too, that you just upload an audio clip and it will automatically transcribe it and make a video for you with captions. And then you can download that and post it on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah, comedians do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, you gotta show me how to do that.
Yeah, they're super nice. So, like, I used to do those, but then it's like, how much time do I want to put into it versus how much am I getting out of it? You know what I mean? Like, how many, if I spend an extra hour making this video and editing it and cleaning it up nice and posting it and scheduling it and all this stuff, and, if 50 more people tune into an episode, the math doesn't, because we get, you get paid by the per 1,000 listens essentially. And so, like, 50 listeners is going to be, $5 or $10 or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
There's a lot of hard work.
It's just it's at what point does the effort become worth? I'm already doing 5 podcasts 5 days a week. You know what I mean? It's like, how much more effort do I want to take on? What's the benefit of the added extra time that I'm going to put in?
There's a difference between like working hard and being burnt out.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't want to get burnt out doing this, and then my love for it kind of vanishes. But I do work hard. I put like 2 videos a week, and I try to do different things. Like yesterday I did I recorded something about the healthy food I eat each week for under $60. I'm gonna post that on Wednesday. So it's like I try to have fun with it, but in the end I know I can't get paid unless I get like 10,000 subscribers, and it's like I gotta get famous for that. So
that's why the network model is where podcasts are right now.
Yeah.
You get on a network and then they can sell everybody's podcast at the same time. So instead of going to Pepsi and saying, hey, this podcast gets 50,000 downloads a month or whatever, we can go to the network. We can go to Pepsi and say, hey, our podcast network gets 10 million downloads a month. And so they only have to pay per listen. And so like individually we wouldn't be enough to sell, but if we're a big enough thing that they're like, okay, yeah, we'll get in on that, like it becomes that much easier for advertisers. Whereas if you're a small fry, they don't want to mess with you. It's not worth their time.
I hear that. Just a hobby right now. But I got one last question.
Uh-oh.
Keep it PG, but who do you think the hottest girl was we worked with at Shopko?
I'm not going to answer that question on the podcast.
I really want to.
I am not going to answer that.
You had a girlfriend.
I actually did date a girl that worked at the Shopko.
Okay,
but that was not part of my thought process. I'm not going to answer that question.
You didn't think I was going to go there?
I didn't think you were going to go there, and I'm not going to answer that question on the podcast.
Okay.
I'll tell you off air.
Okay. I'll tell you off air too. But
James.
Big old beard.
Yeah.
That dude hated me.
Oh yeah, he didn't like teenagers, but he knew he needed teenagers for his business to work.
He loved the girls, but he hated the guys.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Are you hungry at all? You gotta go back.
I gotta go back eventually, but not right away.
We can go out to eat.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. What was the name? Cheryl, the old lady that ran the soft lines.
Yeah,
Cheryl. Big. She was like 60 with the smoker's voice.
Oh, dude, remember who was in your call? Like answer the phone. Like,
Thank you for calling Shopko. This is Cheryl. Oh, she's like a short, skinny version of the lady in Monsters Inc. Always watching you, Wazowski.
Wazowski. Yeah.
Wazowski.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. But
Oh yeah. Shout out. Yeah, that's my answer. Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Was it Cheryl? Her name was Cheryl,
Her
right?
name was Cheryl.
Yeah.
The guy Eric. I can't believe he died. That made me
I
so
always
sad.
forget that. Yeah, he just died. Out of nowhere.
Yeah, he was really nice. I was always like, I was nice to all of them, but like James, I kind of was like, dude, you're kind of a d-bag.
Yeah.
He's not gonna watch this, but
well, what the hell is he doing now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Couldn't keep his store around,
Yeah. Where they all went, who knows? So yeah, that's it for this. What kind of food do you like?
Whatever. Anything, yeah.
Not keto.
I prefer carbohydrates. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. All right. So that's it.